In the large amounts of trash and waste that we produce every day as a society, a large portion of that consists of food waste that we collectively create. And where this food waste first starts is at the farms where they're produced. So many types of farm produce, such as lettuce, cucumbers, and other similar type crops, have a large percentage of their output often left in the field and then discarded if they just don't conform to a certain shape or possibly appear damaged in any way. So a lot of that food is wasted. This practice of throwing away produce is more common in farms that grow leafy green produce, such as spinach, lettuce, and kale, as well as in farms whose main means of harvesting their produce is by hand picking it, so mainly fruits and other soft vegetables. Leafy green goods tend to be more easily damaged by farming equipment in the field, and hand-picked produce are often very perishable by nature, so the percentage of food waste that's created from these at farms can be 25%, even up to 50%. After the acceptable produce has been harvested, sorted, and packaged, it's then prepared for the long journey it will likely have to take before it reaches a store where it can be bought up by potential customers. On average, most produce travels around 1,500 miles before it finally reaches its destination. Farm-made produce often travels by trucks, trains, planes, and even ships, which allow many opportunities for losing food due to the inevitable decay and damage some of the produce endures en route. Food losses due to transit can reach 10% to 15% for some crops, the most commonly damaged being tomatoes, grapes, and leafy greens. Once the food has finally reached stores and markets, likely far away from where it was originally raised and grown, the cycle of waste doesn't end there. Markets in the United States alone throw out about 30 million pounds of food per day, amounting to almost 11 billion pounds of food every year. The problem of stores throwing out their food is mainly caused by product damage or expiration, and according to the United States Department of Agriculture, in 2006, supermarkets on average threw out around 8% of their fresh fruit, 8% of their vegetables, 5% of their fresh meat, and 9% of their fresh seafood. Once food is bought up and reaches households, it'll continue to be wasted. On average, each American household wastes around 15% to 25% of the food that's bought. And similarly, in the United Kingdom, it's estimated that around 1/3 of the food each household buys is wasted. Along with households, a large amount of food waste is also generated from restaurants and large kitchens who throw away between 4% to 10% of the food they make due to reasons of expiration, catering leftovers, and even overproduction. And in fast food restaurants, they usually throw away up to 10% of the food they produce. All the food waste that is compiled on from the many stages in its journey will more often than not eventually end up in a landfill. Nationally, food scraps are the second highest contributor in waste production, and they account for almost 19% of the garbage we overall put into our landfills.
Composting is an affordable and environmentally friendly way to recycle the huge quantities of food wasted. Vegetable scraps, eggshells, coffee grinds, and fruit can all be composted. All that is needed to compost is a container and worms. Because of the small amount of items needed to compost and the relative ease of the actual work, composting is a method of recycling that is accessible to a large majority of all people. Composting also creates rich, nutrient-filled soil that can be used for gardening. Global warming would also be reduced as a result of composting. Many different organizations have been created to take excess food and donate it to charities to help feed the poor. These organizations have recovered over 1 million pounds of safe and clean food since 2011. Many grocery stores reject whole shipments of produce if even a single box has been crushed. Large businesses have created extremely strict regulations on the produce that they sell and distribute, and, as a result, farmers that grow produce that have unwanted shapes or unwanted sizes are rejected. These unwanted produce are put for sale at a deeply lowered price to consumers directly from farmers. Consumers could save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars yearly by buying these unwanted food from farmers. There are simple, smaller ways to reduce food waste that nearly all people could do in a realistic manner. Many of these ways involve simply creating a list of needs and necessities. When shopping for food at the market, creating a list of needs beforehand can reduce the amount of impulse buying. Additionally, buy only items that have a planned use and hold off on buying perishables until they are all used. Buying grains, nuts, and spices from bulk bins allow for exact measurements of how much is necessary to buy. When unpacking groceries, place older items towards the front and put newer items in the rear so that older foods can be eaten before they expire. Monitoring what you throw away from week to week can help you plan better for how much to buy the next time you shop. Eating leftovers is also one of the easiest ways to save food and money. Storing foods in a proper way can lengthen the shelf life of that food. For example, keeping crackers in an airtight container can prevent them from losing moisture and going stale. Leftover meat and vegetable scraps can be repurposed and used as ingredients for other meals. When eating out with friends, consider splitting a meal with others so that the restaurant won't have to throw out food from larger portioned meals. And additionally, plan how much you want to make when cooking a meal and keep the proportions only to how much you need. If more is needed, simply cook more.